Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic and music check. Welcome back, everyone, to another Dungeon Alchemist map making show. We're going to wait a moment for people to file in, do some quick sound and video checks, and we're going to get the stream going. Hope everyone is having an amazing weekend so far. Also, chat, if any of you can hear me, or if you're seeing the chat feed or the video feed, please just let me know. Mic check good. Are you hearing music at all? Hey, Swedish Cook, no worries, no worries. We got a very special stream, which we're going to go over the itinerary in a moment. So I hope everyone, stays tuned. Perfect. Music's exactly where it should be. So again, welcome back to the Dungeon Alchemist map making show. Hope everyone is excited for today's stream. We have a very special guest, Aiko, from our art team, the Dungeon Alchemist art team to specify, is going to join us today. In a bit, we'll be introducing her. We're going to go over that in a moment. But first, let me show you today's stream itinerary. We're going to discuss that and then continue. Stand by. Computer is not cooperating. Hey, there we go. Okay, so for our news segment today, I've got some cool, interesting items to show you, shared by Kenny from our art team. He's working on some heavy machinery, which there's some interesting items, and I'm excited to show them to you a little bit later, here in a moment. And then following the news segment, we will have our Damn User segment with our very special guest, Aiko Navarro, if I recall correctly, from our art team. Be showcasing some of her past work as well as some of her upcoming work that'll be released in our next update or future updates. Following that, during that interview, you can ask questions to Aiko, get to know her role within the team, and as well as, her background, and, just get to know her as a person. Anyway, I hope you all are on your best behavior. Afterwards, we will have the Q&A segment, so the Damn Question segment, where if you have any Dungeon Alchemist related inquiries, support, you need guidance in your map making, exports, maybe you're struggling with a certain map concept that you found on the workshop and you're wondering how to do it, or you have an image from, say, a module and you're wondering how to build that map, you can share it and we can try and help you out. Anyway, immediately afterwards, we will have a short map showcase from the Steam Workshop. So that's our Damn Workshop showcase. I haven't really picked any maps out because I feel like our interview will run a little long, so I'm not sure if we will actually get to the Workshop showcase or the feature showcase today, which are maps and Steam Workshop. So hopefully we get there. If we do, we will do those showcases. Otherwise, though, I'm thinking the interview and Q&A will probably take up a lot of our time today. You can't export maps after the new update. Suzaki, have you reported this? What exactly is going on? What are your export settings? Tell me as much as you can really quickly. Okay, really quickly, I'm going to go into our news. Stand by. I have this lovely map pulled up that I found on the workshop. It was shared also in our Discord. Let's see here. So, this is the heavy machinery. We got a glimpse at this, what is it called? Forge hammer last week, right? But this other stuff is quite interesting. This looks like a pulverizer for for grain or possibly rock. And then here, this looks like something for making like cement or maybe, like some sort of alcohol. Anyway, there are going to be some fun little animated objects that'll be available in our upcoming update, Fun with Objects Part 2. Rock tumbler, right? It could be a rock polisher. This looks like something you'd have at like a quarry or maybe a torture device of some sort. Huh. Sasaki, are you a member of our Discord by chance? Because if you want, we in our Discord we have a section dedicated to support where you can share like screenshots or recordings. You can share the map. You can share a lot of information really quickly, and all of that can be used to assess what's going on and what's causing the problem. But Atlan will try and help you a little bit really quickly. Today's segment for Q&A will be following our interview with Aiko, which is actually coming up very soon, like in just a minute or two. So if you can stay around till then, we can cover it in depth. Or if you want to jump on it right now, you can jump in our Discord, spin up a support thread, share images, share the map, share your computer specs. Anything you can share with us will help us in this endeavor. Yeah, a screenshot of your export settings would be ideal as well. So when you go to the export menu in Dungeon Alchemist, whatever you have your settings here, I would love to know what they are. A screenshot of this entire area would be amazing. If you're doing Windows, if you type Win-Shift-S, you can screenshot a specific area or the whole screen, and then you can just that's added to your clipboard and you can send it to us in Discord. That said, I would love to help you with that problem. So either we'll have to deal with it during the Q&A segment today or on Discord. Anyway, really quickly, let's move on. I've got a very special guest today. Aiko Nabarro from our art team will be joining us on the stream. I just realized my camera wasn't showing. My bad. So very excited to have her on. I mean, she's been with the team much longer than me. Very talented artist. Many of the assets you use in your maps constantly, she has made them. You'd be surprised. So I'm really excited to have her on so she can showcase some of her past work, some of her upcoming work, and also so you can pick her brain, get to know her a little bit. It's fun to peel back the curtain, get to know the team in these kind of one-on-one interviews. Anyway, so without further ado, I'm going to activate her camera and mic and we'll bring her on. Hopefully she is ready. One moment. Stand by. And I have an image or two that I'd like to share as we introduce her. Hold on. Do you see her camera? I don't hear her. I'm going to unmute her. Can you?
Hello, Mac, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can
Hi.
you? I'm going to mute the music, though. It's going to get really loud here. One moment. Okay. Can you hear her?
Hello? I think they can. Yeah, I can see in the chat. So I'm very happy to be here. It's been a while. So
Very excited to have you on, actually. Like, it
Yeah.
has been way too long, for sure.
Definitely.
So I'm going to actually pull up some of your past assets while we are discussing and introducing you,
perfect.
while you introduce yourself, as well as, tell us a little bit about your role in DA and your past and history with asset design, and not much personal stuff. I'm just trying to get to know, so you could share with our community what got you into, this type of art, and what led you to joining the Dungeon Alchemist team.
Yep.
And anyway, I'll leave it to you.
Okay, so well, I've always been very creative since I've been like a child. And when I was 9, my dad always played video games, and then like I started going into video games, and I've always been like, oh, I really want to do something in games with my creativity, because I felt like I had a talent. And then I found like a school in Belgium where I could go and yeah, make my dream come true and become a 3D modeler. So I've been doing that for like the past, I think I've been working now for over 5 years in the game industry. Yeah, it's been a while. Like if you like think back, like, oh, how long have I've been working? It's been a while actually. And I've worked at two previous companies before I started working at Briganti for Dungeon Alchemist. Um, so I'm actually not sure what to share more.
No, that's perfect. Honestly, that's great. So, what kind of classes and courses did you have to take to get like the skills you have today? I
It was like a really specific major into like for games. Like we learned everything from programming to everything 3D, 2D, animations, rigging. Like actually you have like a base package of everything, and then later on you can like specialize yourself in like something more in depth. And I've always been more into um, like the organic sculpting part, like characters and creatures. That's something that I wanted to specialize in, but I've like after school and when I got my first job, I didn't do much anymore with sculpting because the work that I did was more of hard surface modeling at that point. So yeah, it's a shame that I can't like sculpt anymore a lot because we have another artist that is into that more than me now. So it's a bit of a hassle to go back in there and like try to put my talent into it. But yeah, I'm very happy with what I do now too. So
Fantastic. Honestly, it's kind of cool just to hear that information because, like, like a lot of people are interested in the industry when it comes to development or video game industry, but they don't really know how to get started or where to get started. And
yeah,
so it's always nice to just hear, hey, I took some courses in college. There was, video game and programming and all these different things you're supposed to take. And I'm sure they have all sorts of courses nowadays designed around that. I
yeah,
think a lot
definitely.
of people also kind of learn on their own nowadays. There's a lot of people who kind of pick up what they can from online because college isn't a viable option to them necessarily, or maybe they're picking up a second skill. And so there's like all sorts of information on like YouTube and whatnot. But I'm sure a college course is going to be the best way to learn this stuff because you learn from people with years of experience. You get hands-on experience with equipment and software, and I'm sure that makes it a lot better in the long run. Is there any particular software? Really quickly, actually, before I move on with questions,
Hmm?
chat. If you want to ask questions to Aiko about anything Dungeon Alchemist related, and her time with DA or her past with art and development, please let us know in chat. Preface the question with the word question. That way we know it's the question for her. And our mods will add it to a list that is being sent to me on Discord so I can continue asking the questions one after another, okay? In the interim, though, we're going to kind of flip through some different assets while questions are coming in. And I have some questions that are already in our Discord that I made a thread a few days ago, and people have been, adding questions on it, and it's been building up a little bit. Usually, there are people who can't attend the stream for one reason or another, and so they want to ask questions, and then we'll leave them a link after of the stream so they can check it out. So
Yeah.
this first one comes from Loki, and it's from Discord. What is your favorite asset or object that you've created that is currently available in Dungeon Alchemist?
So I think we just like saw them in your previous image that you showed. So the like the wandering hut, I think it's called in game, and then we have the inhabited teapot and the dead store. Those are for the moment my most favorites from that are in the game now because I made I make a lot of assets and it's very difficult to like choose just one because before like in the previous updates I already made a few favorites, but yeah, I was like I'm not going to show them again because those are pretty old already. So these are I
Honestly,
think Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. No, it's
Oh,
crazy like how much influence you've had over the assets though over the years. Like you have so many like peak assets just in this collection alone right here.
yeah.
So just fantastic work. And like if you could take your hand and pat yourself on the back a little bit because you deserve it. Honestly,
Thank you.
though, these are beautiful assets, and the interactivity, especially in the Wandering Hut and the Teapot, are really cool. If anyone's not familiar with these assets, I encourage you to check them out. The Wandering Hut is animated. It moves its head a little bit. You can open it up and put stuff inside of it. There's doors that open. It's a perfect Baba Yaga hut, basically. So if you're looking for something like that, we have an asset that fits into that style right away. Um, the teapot is just great. It's one of my favorite assets too. Okay,
Yeah,
so
definitely.
next question here is from Sack on Twitch. Do you work on anything outside of DA, i.e., art for your own purposes or exhibition?
No, for the moment not. Like for me, I already like work the whole week on 3D assets, and the weekend is like mostly like for relaxing and gaming. So I yeah, for the moment, I am not working on any personal projects. I actually should be, but I'm not. Like I'm too much on my personal time. I have too much games that I want to play. So no, unfortunately not. But
What
yeah.
games are you playing then? Let's dive into that.
Well, I only have like a top three games that I always play, and for the moment, it's World of Warcraft, the new Midnight expansion I'm playing. So
Nice.
yeah.
What are the other two games that you typically play?
The other game is gonna be Assassin's Creed. I always play all the new ones that come out. I never finish them. I just like start playing them and then I'm done and I go back to something else. And then yeah, the third one is The Sims, and I also get a lot of inspiration from Sims for DA also too. Yeah.
Oh, my wife loves The Sims. She plays it all the time, all the time. Oh my goodness, that game is crazy the things you can do. And it's
Yeah.
crazy how we're actually kind of comparable now in a lot of ways. And like roofing has surpassed The Sims in my opinion, like because we have generation instead of just object roofing, which is like, don't get me wrong, Sims is great, but it's like, dang. Anyway, I kind of often compare Dungeon Alchemist to The Sims meets Baldur's Gate. You know, it's
Yeah.
like a cross between the two, and people are like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, so that's cool that you play that. So mostly you play WoW. Do you
Mm.
play with your partner a lot, or is it you have a guild you play with, or
Yeah, my partner also plays World of Warcraft, and we do have a guild. It's not like this like high-end guild that rushes through the content, like not that much. Like it's just more relaxed, friendly guild with a couple of friends of ours. But actually, like this expansion, I've been playing more seriously, like gearing and raiding. Like before, I mostly played solo content. So yeah.
um honestly, that's cool that you guys play together though. Like it's so fun. I love playing games with the misses as well. It's a blast. So
Yeah,
we always say
definitely.
a family that plays together, like slays together or whatever. So we play D&D, we play a lot of different games together. Let's
Yeah,
see
true.
here. Low Key from Discord asks, "What is your favorite asset or object that you've created for the upcoming Fun with Objects 2?" So it's a more focused.
Yeah. Well, again, there are already multiple favorite assets for the new upcoming update. But I think for now it's gonna be the modular ships. But it's like very early to talk about that because we are still discussing on how we're gonna tackle that, and so that's gonna be probably more of like a favorite asset in high seas update. So if I have to say another favorite asset, it's gonna be the theater. We've made like a lot of assets for the theater to create like a full like theater stadium, and I think I also gave you some
I pulled up the ship
images.
stuff first, really
Yeah.
quickly. And this is actually so impressive. Like it's modular ships, so you can pick and you got all these different pieces and you can snap them together like Lego and make ships.
Yeah.
And then there'll be different liveries, so like different skins and colors for the ships, most likely. And also, as you could see, there's like different decor and settings. You can add some hammocks, you can add gun ports. So there's some speculation that some of this will make it into Fun with Objects too, but it also very easily could be pushed back to high seas. So what I'm going to
Yeah.
say is take what you see here with a grain of salt. What you see in this stream and, teasers, stuff like that from, other streams related to ships, this stuff it's up in the air and it's still under development, and it needs some things to get it to a point where the devs and the art team are really happy with how it functions. One thing I know for sure is Wim wants to be able to figure out a way to link these objects together and move them as a group. And that's tricky to do in the current way Dungeon Alchemist works. Which it kind of is like we'll need to be able to make variants on the fly, essentially, of objects like this and be able to move them around the map as a group, So we'll see. But object grouping is something that Carl is working on, so it very easily could happen. Anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Like the ships is like a big work in progress. Like this week, we've been talking about it, like how we're gonna tackle it. So there might be still a lot of changes on how it's gonna work, and we're also working on like grouping objects, which is also needed for how we're tackling the ships now. So everything that you see now is probably like it's the first variation or like what we tried or what do we want to do with the ships. So we definitely want to build that out. And the reason why we would give this already in like the next update with Fun with Objects is to see how the community reacts on it and get some feedback.
Yes, if
Yeah.
anything, that would be ideal, is to, because once we get like the hive mind on it, we end up finding ideas and thoughts and bugs that we didn't find or consider. So there's questions coming in about Spelljammer type ships. I know at the beginning, at least, they're looking at airships, wooden sea ships, and possibly a submarine. Those are the three to start. There may also, I talked to Wim about astral ships, i.e. Spelljammer type ships. If anything, it likely would be later on that those would be considered. Just that, this would be kind of the groundwork for making stuff like that work, though, later. So it's very important that we get this right from the foundation of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So I've showed a couple of the ships. Let me show them the theater, which I find absolutely beautiful. Is that okay?
Yeah, you can definitely show it. Like it was supposed to be something I made for the social posts, but I had some problems with the map with some bugs, so we weren't able to show it because at first I created a whole inset that you will see on the screenshots, and then I had a talk with Wim, and Wim was like, "Oh, can we like make a full map with like all the rooms that the theater needs and like with the outside?" And I was like, okay, yeah, I can do that, but it will take a lot of time. I think you know that because you have the Mapmaking Monday. So I
Oh
started
yeah.
creating this. So yeah, that's probably why these images were never shown. But I had a blast working on this, and I hope I can
Well,
like recreate it. So
if you don't mind, I actually probably would love to share these on our social media, later in the week so people can see them. But this
yeah,
is so beautiful. It reminds me of those like picturesque Victorian theaters that are like, with the booths and people have the little like the binoculars on a stand, and oh
yeah,
my goodness, it is beautiful. It's
yeah.
very awesome.
That's definitely the feeling that we want to give, and also all the like the theater panels in the front where you can see like the big like bow, I think you call it, are all colorable, so they have different swatches with
So
wood.
these panels,
Yeah, the big one is in the back.
I
Yeah,
believe there's a
those.
curtain that closes as well, right?
Yeah,
And then
the
there's
curtain.
stage lighting, correct? That can be
Yep.
configured and aimed. You can kind
Yep.
of see them right here, but they are very cool. I got a preview of this a couple weeks ago. Wim showed me a video of it, and it was quite neat. Or like he had it up in his dev screen or whatever and was showing me a live build. Oh, we just got a follow. Thank you, Solo Guardian, for the follow on Twitch. Much appreciated. Welcome to the Dam fam. Let's go to our next image here. This is just another angle, but stunning. I believe we've got some Yeah, there we go. Look at the lights. You can kind of see there, and they're like the pin and rope stuff for the weights. Oh my gosh, the counterweights.
Yeah.
So well done. I love these little stage lamps on the front too. The candles. That's so beautiful. This is great.
Yeah, it was amazing to work on these assets because I think I created like all of them for the theater. So yeah.
Swamp, come on, man. Oh my goodness. No. No, no, no. Anyway, here we have a view from the balcony. Oh, you could see the trap door on the stage.
Oh.
Ah, love it. And there's an area underneath the stage, correct? Like,
Yeah, you can like the underneath is like open, so you could create like a hole in the like a room underneath it, and then have a ladder to it or something, so you can be creative with that.
cool. So
Yeah,
you just build a room below. It's
yeah,
not necessarily an
basically.
object, the stage is with a, or is it an object?
No, so the stage itself, I think we made it like 80 centimeters high, so that you could like crawl under it if you want to, but you could also create like a floor, like a room underneath it, and that could
Gotcha.
basically work because they do open, so that's nice.
Ooh, this is the lobby, right? When you will go in.
Yeah,
Oh, beautiful.
that definitely like was not finished, but I did want to show it because I was really proud of it already.
It's
So
beautiful. It's a wonderful map. And yeah, I agree. Maps can take a lot of time if you get sucked into them for the details. Like I honestly like Mapmaker Monday maps, I'm guilty of adding way too much detail to them. But they're always gifts to the community. So my thought is let's make them as detailed as possible. I'll make a map that maybe other people couldn't spend as much time on themselves. The thing
yeah,
is, though, it's like that's a labor of love. That map you built is amazing. There's a video I'd like to share so people can kind of see a walkthrough.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, it's definitely like not finished. And I have to rebuild the full map because there is like a bug in this one, and I'm not sure if it's gonna be able to be fixed. But yeah, if I have time, I will recreate it and put it on like the Steam Workshop definitely. So,
so we will be expecting these assets and room types and all that stuff in the Fun with Objects 2 update for sure. Then fantastic. Okay, let's go to another question really quickly. Um, let's see here. We've got from Anani on Twitch. When are you going to make a Mac statue? Sorry, I had to do it. Oh my gosh. I already have 2 items in DA. I'm good. I've got a hammer, which you can make into a statue. And I've got a wine brand, actually. I've got my own label. So I'm cool with that. I don't need more assets. Though
well,
we do need more statues, and they are on the way,
yeah,
correct?
definitely.
Didn't you have a hand with the statues as well? Or was that.
No, the statues is like fully Magdalena's part. Like they
Ah,
are
gotcha.
all sculpted, so you have to thank her for that. She's like amazing. So yeah.
So, moving on from that one, next one is from Lowkey on Discord. I remember you mentioning on Discord that you worked on the modular ships. What have you created for those? Also, is there any chance might get a cute mermaid figurehead to stick out on the front of the ship?
Yeah, most of the like modular like ship parts I've been making, like there are like a few that the others have made, like the anchor was made by Magdalena, I think, and the sails are also made by Magdalena. And we do have the figurehead already. So
One
uh,
figurehead or multiples?
I think if I remember correctly, we have two already, and one is already the mermaid. So you will
Perfect.
definitely get that.
Perfect. Um, that's great, actually. Let's see here. Next question is from Anani on Twitch. What media or artist do you find most inspiring to help you create your art?
Oh, um, I don't have anyone like specific. For when I look for inspiration, I just look over like over internet and Pinterest, ArtStation, and but I mostly like to look at just real life like objects, like how does like the chair look in real life, or um, so I don't have a specific artist. I'm not really into that because I know myself, if I have like one specific artist that I love, I might take a bit too much inspiration from them, and I don't want that. So yeah,
Yeah, you don't want to like funnel your art style too hard into like
no,
a certain direction. You like keeping yourself open ended there. So
yeah,
the assets you see on the screen are another set of assets that Aiko worked on, the circus assets. Um, so these big top assets, as I call them, are going to be fantastic because you can make huge circus tents that are round, elongated, and then you have all the different seating and whatnot. I'll let you explain if you want all the different things.
yeah. So the idea for the circus, we got during a meeting. I had a meeting with Wim, and I was like, "Hey, I don't feel like with the normal room generation that we have with the cloth walls, we cannot really create this typical circus." So I was like, "Hey, why don't we make like a modular approach where you have like different, like you can see on the image, different parts that you can then put together to make like one big tent." And also the idea was that it doesn't need to be a circus tent. It can also be like a war tent because you can color them fully. It's like just like a plain cloth color. Um, so I think this looks really nice to use as a circus. Yeah.
They're beautiful. Can the colors of the stripes be changed? So like, can it be purple and blue and
Yeah,
cool?
yeah, they can definitely like so the roof parts, they have like a different swatch that you can color, so with stripes, and then the underneath for the walls, they have like these triangles. You can also give them other colors or like a plain color to it, and the roofs can also be removed, so
Can
you
these
can look at.
assets, the stands and the grandstands and stuff, can they be recolored as well? The cannon, stuff like that?
The cannon can be recolored, and like the tribune, like the like where you can sit, those can also be recolored. The ticket booth can be recolored, but where you can see like the triangles on the yeah the platforms, those are for the moment not recolorable. But like I think we should do that because if you have like a purple tent and these are still red, I think that would be a clash.
It'd
So
be nice if all of them had the same color swatches, you know?
yeah, so
But
I yeah.
anyway, well, these are brilliant. I think they're fantastic. Um, hey, Hypno, how you doing? Welcome. So I honestly, I just like love looking at them, and I love that they're scalable and like there's all different sizes, and them being objects makes them just a lot more versatile than room generation in this particular style. The
Yeah,
pointed
definitely.
roof is one thing I can point out at a glance. You really only get this high of a point if it was an object. So continue. Sorry.
Yeah, for and also for these specific assets, we are limited in how big we can create them. So at first we only created them 8 by 8, but I was like, no, this is way too small for like a circus tent because I did some research on like D&D maps on how big these circus tents mostly are, and then the biggest one that we have now is a 10 by 10. So bigger we couldn't go, at least not for the moment. That's like our cap. But yeah, you can, like you said, it's an object, so you can scale them in still bigger. Yeah, so it's
I'm
nice.
assuming if they get too tall, though, they'll get like cut off like some objects do.
Yeah,
But that's
that's
something that could be fixed technically if you like raise the camera by raising the level with a false floor. So like we've done this a few times where you put like a room with no floor and no walls and no ceiling and just keep raising it up. And so it'll raise the camera like way up above everything. Anyway, this is really cool though. I'm excited for this to come out. Um is there I was wondering if there's video of this. Oh,
yeah.
there
I
is.
made
Yeah.
a quick video on like how you can assemble it together. There was also like a post made about this map. I also created that map. It was really fun to work on. So
I
you
love
have
how
these
quickly they snap together, even with like collisions off. Free
yeah,
mode, I see hiding there a new thing. Collisions are
Yeah,
being changed to free mode, people.
definitely. Yeah, we are like we were discussing on how we could rename collisions because the it's not only collisions anymore. You can do a lot more with it now. So that's what you see there. I'm not sure if that's final because yeah, this video is from the dev build, so it's
Ooh,
only
I like
available for
that.
us.
Love
So yeah,
that. The color
I had
swatches
a
here.
yeah, I had that idea like, hey, I see this circus with like different colors on the benches, so I wanted that too. I just added it without asking Wim. So
You know, sometimes you just got to take those liberties, right? And hope
yeah,
you just maybe you don't need to ask for forgiveness later. So, no, I'm just
no,
kidding. No, I'm just joking.
but
Honestly, though, this is really great and super modular. Like it's super
yeah.
easy to connect all these things together. It looks like. Um, sorry, go
I
ahead.
also I also hope that we could maybe like in the future create more parts for it because I feel like it's still pretty limited. Like we could create some more shapes or like uh, so you can create different kind of tents. So I hope we can expand on it. But yeah, this is what we have for now.
You know, there's one particular module for D&D that I know a lot of people love, and it's really popular. And I know they're going to be happy. The people who run that module are going to be happy. It's called Wild Beyond the Witchlight, which they have a big tent, a big circus, which is like the centerpiece for the like beginning of the campaign. So it essentially is a very important thing to have. And up to this point, you could make them. We could make circuses, but not this good. You know what I mean? So I'm really happy for this.
Yeah, I felt the same, and that's why I brought it up to Wim. Like, hey, I think we're gonna need another solution for the circus because what we have now cannot give this look. So I'm very happy that we were doing this, that we have done this. So yeah, nice.
Okay, so let's go on to another question here while we leave these up. This one is from AL97729 from Discord. I was wondering why there are two different types of color selectors. There is one where you directly select the colors, kind of like what we just saw now. And then
Yeah,
there's the other one, which is the hue slider, which arguably, you know, some people wish it had more control, and I understand why we have that option. If you want, I can kind of briefly explain the difference, but then you can explain why if
yeah,
you
sure.
know if you understand why. So basically, the difference between them is the hue slider really just shifts a single tone across the color of that across that color on the entire object, which it's great. It gives you a good options for color quickly. And we added this some time ago, like 4 years ago, as a quick option to give more coloring to many different assets. And it definitely falls short of a lot of people's expectations. It's not the best thing, but it was a quick kind of band-aid solution at the time. And many objects that are older have it, whereas many new objects were going towards the color palette, which gives you an assortment of pre-configured colors that we choose that we feel would be, you know, most optimal for this object set. And I'll hand it over to you. The reason, though, that we do the particular color palettes versus,
Yeah.
say, the hue slider, and then people are asking why we don't use a hexadecimal instead. So, which you know, not as easy as it sounds. Anyway, continue. Go ahead.
No, definitely. It's not as easy as it sounds, the hexadecimal. I'm not even sure if you will like ever be able to do that. I that's not like my department on if that's gonna be able or not. But yeah, like the hue slider is like a very old modifier that we apply to our models to give you a new color to the models. And then afterwards, I think it started in like the Magic update. We wanted to have more control over like good colors and like so we added a new modifier that's where you can choose these color swatches, but now we have like a bit of a problem with like the old models and then the new models. If we want to update these old models with the new modifier, we have to deprecate the old one and put the new color swatch modifier on like that object. But like it's not that easy because we also don't want the old maps that still have that old modifier to break. So we're still finding a way on how we can change that, and the developers have been talking about it, like our programmers, on how to deprecate the old one or like check when it's an old map and when it's a new map. So we are definitely aware of that, and we try to update every once in a while the old models.
So as I've kind of been showing the differences between the hue
Yeah.
slider and the color swatches or the palettes, if you will. And when from Wim has explained to me sort of that artistically, when we pick and choose these, we design these meshes, right,
Mm.
or whatever, that are a higher detail of quality and they're like better with lighting and everything. When we do the hue shifter, it's not quite as good of a quality because it is
Mm.
quite literally just kind of like when you would play with an old video camera and you'd throw on a hue filter and it would make everything look different, or you know, you make it's essentially like that. So it's a quick and dirty fix, but it works in many instances. So I honestly, I think really this older holdout will slowly start disappearing. Some objects it may just remain almost indefinitely because it works really well. Like I like it on the sandstone, you know, because you can make ice with it, and it's a random thing that, you know, we use a lot in our community. But that being said, every object is different, and it's a case by case system where we kind of try to give you you know, the best option that we think artistically for that asset, at least going forward.
Yeah.
Likely we'll never see a hexadecimal. I've heard this from Wim and Carl multiple times because every asset has individually designed meshes, and like essentially you can't swap a hexadecimal code on a like a, what is it when it's wrapped around the object, what is that called? What is the it's like a graphical wrapping around an object, right, instead around like a simple shape. Gosh, I'm losing the tip of my tongue. What is it called? Texture
Uh,
mapping, that's what it is. So
oh, okay.
essentially when you have a texture mapped like mesh, like we do with our objects in DA, you can't just swap colors willy-nilly easily. And we pretty much pre-make all of those color swatch meshes individually, and you're just swapping. It's essentially another object that it changes to.
Mm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
next question is from Old Swamp Gas from Twitch. How many assets have you been able to make solely because it was something you wanted in your own map?
uh, well, to be honest, like I don't really play D&D. Like I have played D&D before, so I'm not really creating my own maps. Um, so Wim gives us a lot of freedom on what we want to make. Like he always says, that, hey, if there's an asset that you want, we can discuss it and you can make it. So we have a lot of freedom in that. Um, so most of the ideas are from Wim, because I don't have a need for specific things. But now that we have a new system, every week, every artist creates like a social post with their own assets. And sometimes when I'm making like the social post, I'm like, okay, I really miss this assets for like a coherent team. And then I talk about it with him, hey, I miss this. And then probably we're going to make it. So, yeah.
Sorry, I was just kind of playing around with the color swatches on different objects to kind of show it off.
Yeah.
So next question. Oh, and kind of to add to what Swamp Gas was asking and you were saying, actually, before we move on to another question, sorry, winding back here. I know a lot of your community suggestions make it into DA. Like, if you guys and gals make suggestions, I often pass them on to Wim or the art team or whatever in some way or form, and we usually do a survey between major updates to get like an idea of what people might expect in our next update. So in those surveys, I typically will take all of the data I gather and do like a weighted list in a spreadsheet that shows like what's the most suggested and what's the least suggested, and like where it was suggested. And anyway, we definitely have taken community considerations and suggestions into development and artistic account many times. And I've seen often where our community members will say something to Wim or Carl, in Discord, and then just a couple days later, they're already working on something
Yeah.
in that goes with that. What's up, Wordian?
Also,
Welcome back. Okay, so next question we have is Loki from Discord. What themes do you most enjoy working with in Dungeon Alchemist? Are there any themes not currently in the tool that you wish were included?
um, like, does he mean themes in like the room types, or like themes like in like the updates that we worked on, like abandoned ruins and like magic? Is that the type
I'm
that
assuming
he?
that's what they mean, is which
Yeah.
like update have you enjoyed, or which theme. Obviously they're mostly a theme, so when it comes
Yeah,
to an
yeah.
update, which one have you enjoyed working on the most?
I think like Magic was one that I really enjoyed. I think mostly because we've been really upgrading our like textures and materials, so our assets have been looking better like from than what we have from the start. That's also why we have been updating a lot of our old assets with our new materials. So I've seen a big upgrade since Magic. So and also just the style of the whole Magic update I love. Um, and for the future, I'm really looking forward to the high seas because I really want to make some pirate stuff. So, yeah,
Who doesn't like a good pirate map or a
yeah,
good, pirate adventure? It's crazy. You say you don't really run any games and you're not playing D&D at the moment, but you still
yeah,
make a good amount of maps, don't you? Because you test DA, assets and build them for our social media posts and other things too. So, um,
yeah, definitely. Like during testing, like we test for like 1 to 2 weeks, and then the first week I always know what to test. And then the next week I was like, okay, I'm not sure how to test anymore, or like how to break stuff. So I start just creating a map, and then that map ends up on the workshop too. Or for the social post, I also create maps. So yeah, sometimes I do create it, but I don't have like the vision of what a D&D map really needs. So how you can really play in them. I just want it to look good. So
sorry, I'm reading questions on the side while you were
yeah,
talking there. So I was
no
listening. I'm
problem.
just kind of making sure I'm getting everyone's questions because there's a lot of them coming through. Okay, so this next one is this is from uh let's jump away from Discord for a minute and do some other feeds for a minute. We're going to do YouTube. This one's from Sazaki. Are there any plans to create packs such as Renaissance, Baroque, Gothic? Didn't we already kind of dip into some Gothic architecture a little bit?
Yeah, I've been working like a lot on Gothic architecture. So there is definitely already some stuff in Dungeon Alchemist that represents that style, I think. But like talking about packs, I think he also like talks if we're gonna do DLCs. And
I think more just like I maybe it might be packs, it sounds like it could be an asset pack more than, than an expansion.
yeah,
Um that which I mean, we tend to do like themed asset packs in a lot of the different, I kind of group them together as like, hey, all of this Christmas market is like a pack of things, or, like what we just showed with the circus stuff. That's like a
yeah,
pack.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So do you know if there's going to be more focus on those particular stylizations with assets?
Yeah, like for future updates, we always like to work in teams, or like look into like a broader like back how you call it. So we always try to have a coherent style in our assets. So like for the circus, I make sure that everything fits together, or like for the theater, everything needs to fit together, or also fit with other walls we already have. So we always work in like a specific pack that needs to fit together. Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, it is that kind of leans into a question from Highland Lass, actually, that goes into the art style of the team. How many artists are on the team, and how does the team ensure there is a consistency in design and style? Because I
Yep.
think that's important to know and how it's done. I see it from the back end a little bit, but I would love it if you explained it to them. Really
Yeah,
quickly before you do that, though, I just want to say thank you. Someone just gave us some kind words in chat. It's Open Book Fantasy. Just want to thank you for this amazing map creator. You have saved me tons of time and made my game so much more indulging. You guys rock. Thank you so much for the kind words, and I'll be sure to pass
yeah,
that
thank
on
you.
to the dev team. In fact, I'm going to screenshot that really quickly because they always love getting positive feedback like this. They love all feedback, but positive is obviously the best. It makes them glow. I've seen it. Um,
Oh yeah.
but that being said, I mean, we love any and all feedback because we like to improve wherever we can, whether it's community initiatives, development initiatives, art, anything. We're here to hear it. So,
Yep.
um, really quickly, oh no, I'm gonna hurry and I'll let you kind of answer that question about the art style
Yep.
and how you guys stay consistent while I'm pasting this to the
So
dev chat.
our team for the moment consists out of like 4 people. We have Wim, he's our lead artist. He actually does like everything. I don't know how he does it, but he does. Then we have Magdalena. She is like the more organic sculpting model uh, person in our team. And then we have Kenny. He's like the technical artist in our team. He makes the shaders and the effects, and also he models like we saw in the beginning of the stream. He does also a great job in that. And then I just create like the more hard surfaces models, so all the rest. And then how do we create a consistent like art through the whole team? Is that mostly of the times Wim gives us like, okay, you're gonna work on this. This is your model, and then he sometimes creates sketches that we can work on.
I love those
And then
sketches.
between, yeah, the sketches from Wimars are amazing. So between like the sketches and then working on a model, we always ask feedback to Wim, because Wim is like the end person that needs to say, okay, this model is good and it can go further into production. So that's, I think like Wim is the one that keeps everything consistent. So
He is very organized on that stuff in our testing. We have like a huge workflow chart for testing. And when it comes to art, I see you guys talking in Discord, and I'm sure that's only a fraction of like the overall communications. But he'll be
yeah,
like sending examples of things that he's just drawn up randomly. And he's like, yes, I would like you to work on this and give you some suggestions, and then you'll come back in a few days with something that looks amazing, and then you'll be like, oh, this is great, and just make a couple adjustments here, and then we're good to go. Like, it's a
yeah,
really smooth process from my perspective,
definitely.
at least. Y'all
Yeah,
are
it
like a
definitely is.
very like, let's just say, a smooth operating machine back there, where the art
Yeah.
is just being churned out like impressively fast and high quality as well. um so I, from my perspective, I just got to say props. Like, um, let's see here. So we did. We have one from. Oh, this is just a bit of appreciation from Sack on Twitch. Thank you for so many incredible assets over the years. Absolute backbone to many maps. So
Thank you.
always nice to get kind words like that
Yeah,
for for the your hard work. And
definitely.
honestly, I very much appreciate the work you do and your assets. Like I said, I've used a lot of them too, and I love them. They're usually
Thank you.
some of my most favorite assets to use and show off and share. So, um,
Really
let's,
nice.
let's see here. Low key from Discord. Oh, these are questions actually for me, I guess, later. So I'll skip those. These are more for Aiko. This one's from Discord. Imperator Morsis asks, why do we not have more than a single ring in the game? We have a golden ring that looks like it costs a minimum of 100 GP. Why do we not have copper, silver, bronze, platinum rings, magic rings, etc.? It's a good question. It is
Yeah, I
valid
definitely, yeah,
feedback and question.
definitely.
Um,
Um,
Go ahead.
oh yeah, though, I think like these smaller assets always go like under the bridge. Like these are the things that we forget to make, and I think the jewelry that's already in now we've made for the treasure updates. And I think in our brain, like treasure, oh, it's like
Super
rich
fancy.
and grand. And I think those just were forgotten. And we definitely like the feedback. If you're missing an asset, then please just let us know. I always look through the Discord like every morning. I read everything. So if I see someone asking for something, I go to Wim and I say him like, "Hey, I saw this person ask for something. Can we make it?" So definitely don't be afraid to ask what you want, and who knows, maybe we can put it in.
You know, it'd be cool on the subject of rings, and they said we have the gold ring, an assortment of different, like just some that are fancy with like a gem on it, or like, something like that, or like a cool facet with a face on it or something. Like it's like a stamp ring used by like a someone of importance or whatever. And then the other thing would be like a modular ring that has a bunch of different metals attributed to it, like the pots and pans and stuff we have now, where you
Yeah.
just have one ring and then you can change the metal and really quickly with like a palette of colors or textures or whatever. You know what I'm talking about, right? Where we have those new pots and pans that you can change the metal type really quickly and it's like rusted or it looks patinaed
Yeah.
or whatever. Anyway, uh, so that could be cool for rings for sure. Okay, next question here is from AL97729 on Discord. I think this is more of a support inquiry, but we'll ask it here anyway. Maybe you might know because I think it's a bug. But currently, cobweb walls do not snap to abstract walls like rock walls and wall plants do. Is this an intentional design decision or is it a bug? A lot of wall mounted objects are supposed to snap to walls, so if it's not, it's likely bugged out. I'm going to be honest. There, it could have been a conscious decision because spider webs are typically something that you want a little bit more control of, and it's annoying when it just snaps right away. A lot of people don't necessarily need to snap them to the walls, or they want them in corners or just away or overlapping each other. So maybe that is the reason, but it sounds like a bug because when I look at the object, it's intended to be wall mounted and doesn't snap right away. It has the logic for it doesn't make sense. So I'm just gonna answer that one for you to save you the time there. Next question, random ladybird asks, it would save a lot of menu room if stairs had material selector rather than individual variations. Do either of you know if this is a future thing?
Yeah, I do agree. Like we have a lot of assets that we have multiple like duplicates for with just a different material. And we
Like
have been looking
rocks.
into, yeah, we have been looking into giving like one typical like one asset more like color swatches with different like colors or materials. So we do want to invest more in those things, or at least I would like to see that. And we also have been thinking about making more like modular stairs, so you can build your stairs a bit more
The
than
direction
just,
you want and the handrail
yeah,
on the
so
side you wish, and
something like
that's
that. So it's not something that we're still discussing it on how we're gonna tackle it. But yeah, we definitely gonna that's gonna be a thing, and I hope that we can add the color swatches to it, so you can have like a stone and a wood and a different kind of wood and everything that you would like to change about it. So yeah.
um what was sorry, Atlam, what was Night Demon's question? I missed it. Hmm. Yeah, no, okay. I think Atlam covered that question good enough for now. But our internal like assets, our textures, our art and stuff is not released publicly for several reasons. There's a lot of work and effort went into it, and we're protecting our IP, but also there's a certain like a consistency and standard we're trying to keep. So that said, next question, moving on, is from OG Luminous. Speaking of recoloring options, is there any chance we'll have more options for plants in the future, like different wood types or the ability to change the shade of wood, ability to change the colors of the leaves? That is an interesting point because we do have like a few different trees, but it would be interesting if we could add like, oh, maybe these leaves are dead or this tree has all the leaves have fallen off of it, or maybe it's a birch tree instead of say a pine, or we have a kind of a set kind of trunks that are only a certain style and not very many different coloring options. So that is a great suggestion, maybe even for trees to save space in the object menu, condensing a few down where they have swatches that you can pick between. These are all great questions and suggestions. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. What are your thoughts on that, though?
I like the idea, but I can say that this is not something that at least I have not discussed with Wim. So I'm not sure if Wim has internally discussed this with Karol, the other developer lead. I think it's a great idea. I hope in the future that more assets would be or like have these color swatches. I think it would give more freedom of because now, like for instance, I create an asset. I use these kind of woods, for instance, but then you cannot use that asset in like another map that uses other kinds of woods, maybe because you want it all to be coherent. So I would love if you can recolor that asset in the wood style that you want. Oh.
I'll leave a plan while we're talking. Okay, let's see here. I think that is all the questions directed at you personally. I think the rest are more talking to me. So I will deal with those later during my Q&A section. That said, we've had you on for just about an hour. I don't want to keep you too long, but I know the community loves having you here and likes picking your brain. How much longer do you think you have to spend with us today? Because I know it's late where you live.
Like it's 10 now for me, but
Oh,
I
it's
don't
10
mind
now for
staying.
you?
Like,
Oh,
yeah, it's
definitely
10,
don't
but
want you to be up too
oh,
late.
I
But
don't mind. Like it's weekend for me, so uh, I can either stay here or go gaming. So I'll be behind my computer. So
well, if let's just put a little APB out to chats, and just if anyone has any last minute chat questions, please let me know, and then we will convey them to Aiko, so she can answer them. Oh my goodness, I'm getting an echo. Okay, just fix that. Sorry. Anyway, so we'll give everyone a minute or two while we're waiting. Again, I just want to say thank you for joining us on the stream today and for sharing your time and for letting us get a sneak peek at some of those assets that are upcoming, as well as looking at your past work. I just got to say, from myself and the community, very much appreciate what you do and love the work you do. Your assets make so many DMs and players happy. I'm sure there's just so much enjoyment and like smiles, and like the first time experience seeing some of these things is always such a warm experience. Anyway, let's see here. Oh, we got a couple more questions coming in. uh let's see here. First one is from Night Demon. Question: how long do you typically spend on a single asset? For example, the circus cannon, how long does it take to add new color swatches to them?
um, like for the color swatches itself, like it's just a modifier that we apply, and then it like switches out the materials. We have like multiple materials, but then just in another color. So it's like the same, but then in other colors. So that's just a modifier. It's not like I create a cannon in like 5 times with like different swatches. But yeah, of course, like
So it's a
in
modifier within Unity, is what you're saying.
yeah, it's like a modifier in Unity. So of course, this modifier had to be set up to work. So for me, it's just easy. Like I put my model into Unity, and I get the modifier on it, and it works. So for me, it's pretty easy. But the setup for the modifiers is like a different thing. Yeah.
Oh, next question's from Random Ladybird. What is the project that you are looking forward to working on in the near future?
Oof. Um, I think I'm like for the moment looking most forward to the high seas. We have like a lot of nice ideas already that we have been pitching in the team. So we have like a whole list of features and assets that we want to do. I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to do everything, but yeah, like I said, I really want to work on some pirate assets, and the ships. I hope I can make some more variations for the ships. So
I'm writing down that note about rings
yeah.
earlier, just so I have it fresh in my mind. Let's see here. DM Crusader says their work and effort have certainly made my game better. So I'm sure you got some fans for sure. Um, Another tree comment. This is more of a comment than a question from Highland Lass. As someone who uses a lot of trees from the Scottish Highland in my campaign, would love to see more. There are now more on the workshop though, but not all fit into the DA style for my particular eye for consistency. So I definitely
Yeah.
think we could get into some more flora, like just different trees would be fun.
Yeah. We
Um,
really want to do more trees and vegetation, but to be honest, like no one from the artists really like making vegetation or like trees because they're not very easy. So for the moment, Magdalena does like making them. So she's probably gonna make some more plants and trees for the future updates. But we know that that is like the part that we lack most in. So we
you
really
heard it
want
here
to.
first. You're not getting a lot of plants because they hate making. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
I really don't like making them. So don't ask me. You're gonna ask Magdalena. So yeah.
uh, let's see here. Oh, this is a suggestion from Swamp Gas. Please consider gold metallic ship for those of us doing Disney style fantasy pirates. I
I'll
mean, I, I've seen some crazy liveries already. I'm sure they'll cook some interesting ones. Um, like there's a burnt one that I thought was really cool. That one was interesting. I hope that makes the final cut because it looks good. It looks fire, literally. It's great. Um, Question: Pirate assets by any chance inspired by Black Flag, Assassin's Creed?
yeah, who knows? And like we haven't talked about what kind of like pirate assets we're gonna make. So who knows? Maybe it's gonna be an inspiration. Um,
Flora seems like it could be procedurally generated. I'm sure there probably is a tool to do it.
Yeah, we've been looking into that. Like this week, we've been to a conference about like procedural generation. And we've been talking about how maybe we can use those kind of tools, but yeah, we haven't like had a talk about it on how to do it properly. And um,
How was the conference? We talked a little bit about it, but
yeah,
was it
oh, it
cool?
was
Did
yeah, it was really nice. For me, I'm really not a technical person, so for me it was sometimes a bit difficult to understand a lot of Houdini talks, and I've been like very interested in Houdini because it's like procedural and everything that you can do with it is so cool. But I've always been very scared to go into that tool because I'm really not technical, so I'm scared it's gonna be too difficult for me. And but yeah, it was interesting. It was also a very nice team building because we're probably gonna do it every year. So for people that are in the Netherlands in Breda, we will be there every year. So
I'm always so jealous. I miss out on all these team building events.
yeah, it's
Sag.
definitely a shame. I hope we can do like a big like company stream. Like I hope we can do that, but
I
I'm not sure
want
if
to.
that's gonna.
One thing I've been kind of the idea. I think we should do a launch party when we leave early access.
Yeah.
I think you and I may have talked about this in the past,
Mm,
or like a launch stream. It would just
yeah.
be a lot of fun to have everyone from the team dress up, have some drinks, have a little stream, and it's like a little like streamed launch party where we all hang out and like I'll put on my suit. I don't care. I'm gonna dress up. I'll look nice,
Yeah. Oh,
and
I would love that.
it would be great to like just kind of hang out, answer questions, and celebrate with the team. Um,
Yeah.
let's see here. I don't think there's any more questions coming in. There's just mostly suggestions. And I just want to say again, thank you for sharing your time with us tonight. I know it's your weekend. I know it's late for you, and I know you got gaming. Just you're chomping at the bit to get to WoW. So, thank you again. And I'm so glad we got your cam working because we were struggling with that before
Oh
the
yeah.
stream. It was a bit of it was a thing, y'all. She restarted her computer. We tried a bunch of stuff. Her partner walks over and fixes it in like 3 clicks. So
Oh yeah.
it was crazy.
So if you ever have problems with not getting your camera to work, try another browser that works.
That's a great suggestion. Um, Again, yeah, thank you for being here. It was such a fun interview. It was so great to, get to know you this way. I've obviously had you on the stream a few times and gotten to know you over the years, but not everyone has been to all those streams and gotten to know you like this. So it's great to kind of peel back the curtain, get to know the team a little bit this way. And I just want to, ask everyone if you could very quickly, just a quick thank you to our guests today, some kind words and feedback if you've got any, and just give her an Auf Wiedersehen so she can be on her way. Thank you so much, Aiko. We're gonna have some feedback coming in, and it's all gonna be good, I'm sure.
Thank you
No,
so
I'm
much
just
for
teasing
having
with
me.
you.
So
But yeah, thank you again for being here, and you're always welcome on the stream. So if you want to come on sooner than me inviting you, let me know. Or if you have something
yeah,
you want to share with the stream, let me know.
definitely.
Otherwise, again, thank you for being here. You're such an amazing guest. It's so awesome to have you on, and we'll chat later. Bye, Aiko.
Yeah. Bye bye, and thanks everyone for joining.
Amazing interview, great interview on getting insight to the artistic side. Thank you. Thanks for the great interview. Thank you for the time to answer our questions. Thank you for all the stunning work. Lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for coming on. Just love all around to you from our community. Thank you again, Aiko. We'll see you later. You have a
Yes.
wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day, everyone. Bye bye.
And bye. I'm going to disable the collab cam. And we're going to turn down the sound and get the music back on. All right, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that interview. It was quite a treat. I always love getting team members on these interviews. So I'm going to probably, when we have the update, I'll make a theater on Mapmaker Monday for sure. That'd be fun, Suzaki. And for those that weren't here when the theater was shared earlier, Aiko shared some of her upcoming stuff that's going to be released in the next update. So theater assets and whatnot, room types. Very fun interview. Great to have her on. Always so fun to have the art team here. So what was everyone's favorite part of the interview? I'm going to quickly change the tag for the stream. Ooh, damn Q&A. Okay, so I have questions that came in towards me. Let's address those. Oh, the theater is fire, right? Doesn't it look so beautiful? And I gotta say, y'all were amazing, amazing audience. Thank you so much for being on your best behavior. I mean, we don't really have any problem viewers or that many issues or trolls in chat, but still, I always appreciate it when we have a guest and y'all are on your best behavior. So thank you again for that. There's Aiko in chat really quick saying goodbye. Yeah, Aiko, of course. You're welcome anytime. Love having you. Here, let me move my camera down. Gotta fix a couple things. I need to make a panel, like a source just for, or a scene just for interviews, so I don't have to redo this all the time. You'd think I'd save myself the trouble. Let's see here. Why is my camera not moving? Oh, it was locked. I do have a Stream Deck. I just need to reconfigure it. So the thing is part of the problem is while I'm streaming, I have two computers, right? And I have a KVM switch and one Stream Deck. And so I alternate between computers, and I have the same Stream Deck programming on both machines, but only one of those machines is running Streamlabs. So often I'm like on the wrong machine when I'm doing DA stuff. So I need to figure it out. Either a second Stream Deck, which I do now have. I was just given a Stream Deck as a gift. So I may leave one on one machine, one on the other. But the thing is, I kind of want to give my old one to Mrs. Mac because she does a lot of art. But yeah, a second Stream Deck is probably the way to go, which I do have a second. I was just shipped one this last week, or this a few days ago, and I've been clearing out my desk and making room for it. I have to raise my monitor because I have it tensioned at the height it's at, and it's on like an arm that you have to tension it very specifically, and it's really heavy to do. It's like hard to do because it's a heavy monitor. So I got to wait until my my wife can help me, and then we'll raise the monitor and put the new Stream Deck in. But anyway, Stream Decks, very powerful tools. And honestly, like, I don't mind just switching scenes with a click. That doesn't bother me, but I need to set up some new scenes. I need to reorganize the stream, set up a little bit, add some new stuff. One thing I've been avoiding because I know people like to spam it is like a follow notification. It only takes one person, ruining it for everyone else. But like, I also don't like to have that constantly coming up on the stream if there's like a follow chain and stuff like that. So I find it distracting. And people are here to learn about Dungeon Alchemist, not see who's following the community per se. You know what I mean? Anyway. I really do love this build. It's wonderful. You did a great job on this. Yes, but she said she's going to make adjustments to make a new theater and share it on the workshop after this update launches. But you can kind of see some of the neat assets, like obviously the curtain, the lovely chairs, the lighting. I love the weight and pin, like the rope and pin system there. I do not know the map size. Aiko, are you still here? She was here a minute ago. Maybe she could tell us what the map size is, or estimated map size will be. Unfortunately, though, you can't upload it to the workshop until after the update's out, right? Because no one can really load it or open it. So it'll be a while, at least. Ugh. But it is a beautiful map for sure. Alrighty. So I've got some questions from Discord that we need to address. Yeah, chandelier. A really beautiful chandelier would be nice. Okay, let me get back to those questions. Okay, so Low Key asks me from Discord, and by the way, this section of our stream is Q&A. So it's AMA Q&A. So if you have any Dungeon Alchemist related inquiries, support, feedback, suggestions, you want to know anything about our upcoming development, anything I can share, I will. So ask away, and I will do my best to address it during this segment, which will run for about the next 10-20 minutes. So the first question is, both Wim and Carl mentioned they were interested in exploring the possibility of GeForce Now with Dungeon Alchemist and plan to test it in the future. Is there any update on that? I know we started looking into it, but it is lower on the priority list at the moment than a couple things in our development for Fun with Objects 2. I am hoping they'll enable it and get it, tested and done by the time we release Fun with Objects 2. There's some things to consider. when it comes to Dungeon Alchemist and how it works, because you do need to always kind of save your maps, right? And one way GeForce Now works is they give you limited cloud storage to run and do what you're doing, but then it doesn't save your map. So we need to come up with like a way. I'm assuming people could save it locally while they're still running all of this stuff through the cloud. There is just some things that need to be tested on our end, and some things to make certain it works fully. But that said, it is on their radar. They're interested in it, and they're definitely considering how and when to implement it. Night Demon, that's a great question. So I spent about 10 plus years growing my personal brand, which I was streaming as kind of a hobby. On the side, I was, working, running a business, and started streaming as a hobby because I found it interesting. I stumbled upon Justin TV years ago, which is the precursor to Twitch. And I thought it was cool. I was like, what is this? It's fun. And I, at the time, didn't have a computer that could really stream that well, but I tried, did my best, and it just looked like garbage, dropped lots of frames. And then over the years, I slowly kind of started I got a better computer, and I was like, I want to come back to this. There's games I like playing, and I want to stream them. So I started streaming certain games, and, I was trying to find my audience. And I really didn't do well in streaming until I kind of found my niche, and that was streaming Battlefield games on console. I'd played a lot of PC games, but I seemed to find an audience when I started streaming Battlefield games, which I'm actually rather decent at. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but we got a visitor, another special guest today on the stream. Love you. He smells really good. He got his bath. So I spent years in the social media scene, in the streaming scene, building up network connections, building up my brand. I became partnered twice on 2 different platforms. So I was partnered with Mixer, which was Microsoft's streaming platform. It was Beam for a while, and then it became Mixer. I was partnered there, and I had like 15,000 followers. I was averaging like 150 viewers concurrently on my streams, and I was playing Battlefield and Sea of Thieves like constantly. That was kind of my audience. Mixer got shut down unexpectedly. I moved to Facebook Gaming, started streaming there, and I became partnered there. And then they made some changes to their site and how it operates and how the gaming video streams are seen, and it's mostly algorithmic, and I just wasn't happy with it. So I moved on from there, and I just kept streaming in my own kind of personal downtime, building up a, social media presence and a fan base. But I kind of would take breaks in between and do other things. So one thing I started doing was I volunteered at a kind of, it's basically a passion project for a few indie developers in their spare time, a bunch of Stargate fans that were making a game called the Stargate Network, which is now no longer being made because they got cease and desisted into oblivion, so it no longer exists. But basically, I was a volunteer community manager for them for about a year, kind of tried that out. It was okay. But it was a very small audience and a small, indie project that wasn't really going to be sold or going anywhere, right? But it was a good way to get my feet wet. And during the time I was streaming and partnered with other, streaming platforms, I'd go to different conventions, like, different gaming conventions and whatnot. And I would network with, developers, community managers, and I started to rub shoulders with these people, and I realized I liked what they do. And so I just started looking for work in that field. And to be honest with you, this job kind of sort of fell in my lap. I found Dungeon Alchemist when I was kind of at a low point during the pandemic. A friend of mine gifted it to me. and they kind of were like, man, you're going to be an amazing DM someday. I want you to have this software so you can build maps. So I just started playing with it, building maps, and it was a great kind of cathartic and good kind of just a way to de-stress and unwind when I was at, like, probably a lot of us were at vulnerable points during the pandemic. And I found a community. I really enjoyed the Discord server and the mods and the dev team and the art team, and I really enjoyed streaming Dungeon Alchemist, which at the time I was one of the only people doing it. And I was talking about it on social media, and I was streaming it, and Wim was interested in my stream and was wondering, if people were interested in Dungeon Alchemist, and we started talking. And I would share some maps that he found really cool too, because I would do, kind of out there builds that people weren't doing at the time. Like I made what is arguably the first cave map or a mine like map for Dungeon Alchemist before we even had like a mining biome or a cave biome. And I also made a themed map that was like a Bob's Burgers map that got Wim's attention. He found it very interesting, and a lot of people on social media loved it. So essentially, he saw that I was getting a lot of attention on these things, and we were going to talk and see if I could share some ideas with him and the team on how they could grow their social media presence and their streaming and stuff. And we had a meeting, and I, shared a few ideas with him and some thoughts I had, and I guess he was rather impressed. And during the meeting, I was like, we could test these things, see if they work. I would gladly, help you test them. And if it does well, maybe we could use this as like a sort of a test drive to see if I could work with the company as the community manager, and see if you need if maybe I could segue into being your community manager. And he was like, wait, what did you just say? And we talked about it for a second. I was like, well, I love your community. I love the team. I love what you're doing with Dungeon Alchemist, and I see an amazing future here, and I'd love to be a part of it. But at the same time, like I can't give myself a job. Obviously, I'd want to prove myself to you. And so he's like, well, if you're interested in being a community manager, we should talk more. And basically they scheduled an interview with me like a few days later, and I had an interview with Carl and Wim. And by the end of the interview, I was the community manager. So yeah, I mean, it kind of was right place, right time kind of thing. But I also have the right skills and knowledge and background and stuff to do these things effectively. And, connections in certain places, different companies. I have people who I can bounce ideas off of and get, different tools from different people. It's great to just, be able to have that background going into this, because I think community management as a whole is a relatively new career when it comes to social media. And like, I think that's like a millennial invented career, if anything. And I think a lot of people in the streaming industry, gaming industry that are, content creators tend to get into community management in one way or another. So I'm actually glad that I've been able to do it for almost 5 years now. Hey, Eric, how are you, bud? Dude, I'm excited for tomorrow. We got our game tomorrow. I really enjoy our community. I love streaming. That's a big part of our community and, engagement and endeavors and, interactions. But I also love, being on social media, posting stuff, creating content. I just posted a new video this week. We're going to be actually going into a lot of videos going forward, at least 1 to 2 a week. At least one teaser and one like tip or tutorial type video per week. So 2 total. So yeah, and another thing we're going to be doing in that same vein of thought is we're having what's called the Dungeon Alchemist Academy, which will be a built-in like a tab in Dungeon Alchemist, where you can access all these tips and tricks and video guides right inside of Dungeon Alchemist, and then it just opens up a embedded YouTube video. Oh, okay. Do you want to go back to mom? Hold on. There was a question from chat. Who is a good boy? Who's a good boy? It's you. You're the goobs. He's a goobs boy. He's a handsome boy. Oh, you see his mom. Yeah, he won't speak when being held. He's very polite. He will not bark while you're holding him. Like, at all. It's funny. We've tried to get him to bark or like just talk to us. Like, speak. But if I set him down and say it, he'll do it right away. Oh, here. Go back to mom. Go back to mom. Go back to mom. Almost dropped him. Just kidding. He's fine. How you doing, the Peace Domain? Welcome to the stream. Oh, goodness. Okay, next question. That one took a long time to answer. Sorry about that. Because it wasn't like a simple, straightforward thing. I think it's years of experience kind of compiled. But anyway. Will it be possible to add like a bunch of birds that fly over every now and then? Or rats or a deer? So you can add like animals and stuff to it, but for the most part, they're not necessarily animated. We don't really have many animals built into Dungeon Alchemist, but what we do have is the Steam Workshop integration and the asset importer, which allows our community to import 3D models that are animated, full color. So you can add extra tokens, you can add, animated animals or, wildlife of all sorts, which there is hundreds of thousands of animals available. That said, what you're asking is something that is often done in like a virtual tabletop. So Dungeon Alchemist is used to make your map, right? TMZ. And you make the map and then you export it for your preferred style of play, whether it's a printed map or you take a file to a print shop and have them print it for you, or you print it at home, or maybe you have a digital play surface like a projector tabletop or a TV tabletop. You can export the map as a digital file that is a video that loops or a still image. And then lastly, you can export for virtual tabletops, i.e. online play systems such as Roll20, Foundry, Fantasy Grounds, Above VTT. So you export for a TV tabletop. Got you. Do you use virtual tabletop software in tandem with your TV tabletop to manage like Fog of War and Line of Sight, or do you just do the TV tabletop? So I've seen effects like that in virtual tabletops. Like Foundry has a plugin where you can have like birds fly over or clouds or rain will appear. I think it's called FX Plus. But it is like a tool. Foundry is a tool that essentially helps facilitate gameplay. It's a digital gameplay tool that can help you manage roles, rules, HP, inventory, line of sight, fog of war, and then it works in tandem with Dungeon Alchemist. Does that make sense? So our maps, when you make a map in Dungeon Alchemist, they are... I didn't mean to open the asset importer, by the way. I'm going to go to the workshop. When you import an asset to DA, when you make a map in Dungeon Alchemist, you can export it, like I said, to all those different methods and however you feel is best. In your case, you could export it for a virtual tabletop. It would include lighting, walls, windows, door information, which could then be translated to your TV tabletop as an animated image that has, like the trees moving and any animals present, stuff like that. Oh, you use dynamic dungeons? Oh, cool. I like dynamic dungeons. Yeah, they're pretty neat. Actually, Dungeon Alchemist maps work really great in dynamic dungeons because we offer looped videos. Dynamic dungeons, though, they make some really cool maps, like the custom ones they make for their community. But the tool itself is very awesome. This map is called Border Checkpoint. I found it on the workshop earlier today. It was made by Watchtower, and I just thought it was a neat little map. So, but what's nice is instead of waiting for him to make a map that'll work for your campaign, you can make a map in Dungeon Alchemist and then use it on your TV tabletop with the dynamic dungeon software. So, best of both worlds. And our maps are exported in a top-down, right? Which you can do a flattened top-down or a 3D perspective top-down. Additionally, you can let's go, like I said, you can add tokens, and then you were asking about animals. Let me find like an animal on the workshop that's animated. There are like birds and whatnot. Here's a rabbit right on the first page. Let's see. Here is an animated dove. But see, this one is just flying in place. So depending on the animation and how it was shared on the workshop, some things may move across, but some things may just sit in place and move. Does that make sense? Some of them are on like a loop, like this koi fish. Great for a pond. This bird, not so much in this case. The animated assets are hit or miss because they're all shared by our community. That said, you can always import custom assets yourself. So if there's one you find online that you want in your map, or you can build your own assets, then you can do that. Here we've got, oh, there's a pair of ducks. You know, there's all sorts of animals you can get access to, for sure. Right now I have access to, that I've downloaded from the workshop, some flamingos, some frogs. I know there's like, oh, here's a horse. You know, that would be really cool if we could set them on a path, like a wireframe or something, and it follows it. But unfortunately, that's not something that's available in Dungeon Alchemist at this time. Okay, let's see here. Next question is from our Discord. In a recent map-making show, you previewed the shipbuilder. First off, thank you for that. It was very cool to see. My understanding is that we're getting a basic shipbuilder with Fun with Objects 2 with possible expansion in the High Seas update. My question is, will the modular system allow for creating different types of ships, massive cargo ships, passenger ships, smaller high-speed ships? I can't really speak to that. I know that we'll have different skins and liveries, and there'll be tons of modular objects for ships to make them all look slightly different if you want. But I do think they'll kind of sort of fit the same mold, per se. That said, though, there will be water ships, airships, submarine, and possibly astral ships in the future. Hey, Jack. Hope you're well, man. I've been all right, man. I've been, you know, just working and both, you know, here and then projects around the house. I've been making a crafting bench, like a modular crafting bench for Mrs. Mac that like rolls around and can store totes in it and has like flip up desktops. One is like a drafting desk for drawing and painting, and the others like flip up and store stuff. Been busy working on that in my spare time, which there's not a lot of good weather left until it gets super hot here in Vegas. So I've been taking advantage of the nice weather here. You know, TMZ, I think it's a great suggestion. The thing is you may want to drop that suggestion through our feature base, which is our suggestion board and roadmap. Here, if you go to our website, right, dungeonalchemist.com, you can click roadmap, and this goes to a third-party website where we run our roadmap and suggestion board, which... okay, appears to be running. So here you can see like what we have planned, what we're working on next, what's live, and then also you can share feedback, right? So you can give suggestions, and the suggestions can be upvoted by people, commented on by people. But if a suggestion already exists, you can go into that suggestion, upvote it, and comment on it. So you may want to check and just see if something like that exists. Search, you know, and then if there isn't one, make a new one. You don't even have to create an account to make a suggestion. You can do it anonymously. Hey, no worries, TMZ. Wish I could do more for you right now, though. You know, it's been getting up to the 90s or so, between 70s and, you know, 90s, like in the like 90s in the middle of the day. But I try not to work then. I usually go out early morning, bust out a bunch of work around the yard and like in the garage, and then get inside before it gets too hot, too sunny. But it will be hot soon. Like, it's going to get up into the hundos pretty quick here in Vegas. Honestly, like, I love these suggestions for features in DA, but also something to take into consideration. The devs are always worried about feature creep. Like, they want Dungeon Alchemist to do as much as possible, but they also don't want it to become so burdened it can barely run, right? And that's another reason why people are asking about, like, GeForce Now, especially because, you know, a computer that could run DA 5 years ago maybe, you know, is struggling to run it today because a lot of changes have happened. And it's not necessarily bloat, it's just these features compound what you can do in DA and make it more epic, and so there's a lot more going on. A multi-level map is like this one here is 4 floors. That's 4 maps pancaked together, so there's a lot of objects and things to render, right? Anyway, let's see here. Question for Mac. How often do the devs review suggestions on the roadmap? What are some examples of suggestions from the community that were eventually added to Dungeon Alchemist? So the devs and myself get an email for every suggestion that comes through. So we see them as they come through. And we also get a notification in a private Discord channel for the dev team that shows these suggestions too. Well, we also have this and a public one on Discord where everyone can see the suggestions. So our team sees them, regularly reads them. Sometimes we'll comment on them or even upvote them if we appreciate them and agree with it. The thing is it's not always practical from the moment a suggestion happens to it being developed. It's not necessarily always something that can happen immediate. Usually we take suggestions and then we fit them into our development plan where it makes the most sense. So for instance, a great example of features added to Dungeon Alchemist that were never planned. The collision toggle is a great example. The devs originally were never going to give you the ability to disable collisions like that. In fact, they didn't even want to give you the ability to raise objects up and down, merge them together, because artistically they didn't like that. It took a lot of community feedback, upvotes, constant suggestions in our Discord, but they caved and added it. Another thing that was a big add recently was multi-level and roofing. That was never a promised feature in our Kickstarter. So our devs actually felt this feature originally wouldn't be needed because, you know, most maps you play in top down, you want to see inside the building. You know, Sam, really quickly, I have a question that I'm going to answer that's quick, and then I'm going to jump back to this other question. So Samurai on Twitch asks, any promotion anytime soon? Want to buy but can't afford it right now. Samurai, typically we participate in all major Steam sales. So the spring, summer, fall, winter sales, and then occasionally 1 or 2 others that are like a surprise to me. But the I'm trying to see if there's an upcoming sale. The summer sale is June 25th is when it starts. There is a chance that we might be included in a random sale before then, but I usually don't know until like almost like a day or 2 before. So unfortunately, I cannot speak to this other than the major sales. And even then, occasionally we don't participate. The thing is we basically, Steam chooses if we're allowed to participate or not. We apply and then they say yes or no. And if they say yes, then we do it. Also, they'll randomly invite us, and so we'll do it when they invite us, obviously. But yeah, we should be on sale during the summer sale. Good idea, add it to your wish list right now. That way, when it goes on sale, you'll get a notification. So if it comes on sale earlier, you'll know. And also, we do have a free demo on Steam, so you can download the demo, give it a try, test drive it on your system without, you know, investing money or too much time. Anyway, thank you for the question, Samurai. So back to the suggestions for Dungeon Alchemist. Multi-level and roofing was vehemently pushed back against by the dev team, but there was so much feedback, comments, upvotes, and suggestions constantly on our social media and streams that they decided it would be in our best interest to incorporate that in our development. The thing is it was very difficult to incorporate roofing and multi-level in a standard that met our, quality standards. And it took over a year to incorporate this feature, but it was being developed in parity with other features that were part of the update and other assets. So they will take and put this in the background and start working on it a couple updates before they plan to release it, and then working on it, in parity with our other stuff. Does that make sense? So right now, our major update, Fun with Objects 2, there's another feature coming up that will be released that was never promised, and it was added because community feedback. The ability to rotate an object on any axis. So you'll be able to take an object and flip it on its side, or put it up on a wall if it's, not meant to be on the wall. Earlier, we had a video that was showing that essentially was the Christmas market during Aiko's, hangout with us. Let's see here. Where is that? Just gonna reopen that video. The Christmas market, I didn't know if you noticed, but in this video you can see there's some objects that are tipped. So right here we have a crate that's tipped up on its side, so you can look into it like a farmer's market crate, and it looks great actually. This is like just a small taste of what you can do with rotating objects, and it's going to be insane when that feature comes out. You're flipping out about this? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It will change how maps are fundamentally made in Dungeon Alchemist going forward. Hey Samurai, thank you for that like, much appreciated. Because we have so many objects, people are like, well, I just wish I could have a tipped over version, like there was a fight, or, maybe someone got attacked and their wagon's tipped over, or I want to put this object that's great up against the wall on the floor, or the one that's on the floor on the wall, etc. That will solve that problem. Objects will become so much more versatile after this update. And so essentially, object rotation is a big part of the next update that's already been figured out. They're working on grouping objects, i.e. maybe, selecting a group of objects and moving them as a group, or copying and pasting that group. And I am pushing, big time pushing, for saving groups of objects that you can, select, so you can essentially copy it from map to map. Meaning you could save that as a variant, share that variant on the workshop. Maybe you built out a ship, with the modular object tool, built a really cool ship, decorated it, but you want that ship on several maps because the ship moves around, right? Would be nice to be able to copy that set of objects, save it on the workshop as a private thing for yourself, or other people can download your ship and use it in their campaign. Unfortunately, you will not be able to tilt houses ever, I don't think. Object houses, you'll be able to do that. So remember, on the workshop, there are hundreds of house variations that are a great way to fill in a village with extra stuff that looks a little different from the Dungeon Alchemist style. So you get a bit of variety in your villages, right? Especially when you have houses that no one is intended to enter. I know that's not for every party, but some parties you really just go to points of interest in a village and not necessarily every single home, right? So it's sometimes, and usually for most DMs, a waste of time to fill out all of those homes with designs. So they'll either use a blank kind of set piece that's just a blank exterior house with no interior objects, or they'll use a house from the workshop that is, super easy to download, and there's lots of variations of them. But when that happens, you'll be able to take anything that you can download on the workshop or use in Dungeon Alchemist as an object and rotate it. So imagine these these wharf assets, maybe one tipped over because there was a wave or something that came through and a rogue wave knocked over half the village. Or here, these ones you'll be able to tip because they're objects, right? Because houses aren't objects. They're fundamentally different than objects. The houses that you use, like the room generation tool, should be treated entirely different than objects and the object tool, because they have different properties and how they behave and what they're supposed to do. So the room tool is kind of adhered to a grid system, right? And a level system. So when you're generating a room, you obviously have to place it, using the grid system, and it uses that grid tooling to essentially tell it how to generate what's inside and how it's laid out. Does that make sense? But unfortunately, they're intrinsically tied, room generation and the grid, so it's not something that I don't think you'll be able to rotate them, at least. Not anytime soon. Or make a DA landing page. Yeah, DA landing pages are fun. Hey, see you later, Jack. Have a good one. Oof. Ow. Back is killing me. Would any of you be like put out? Would you be, inconvenienced if I ended the stream a little early today? I don't think I have any more Q&A unless there's questions in chat that have been coming through. Otherwise, then we'll probably be moving on to our next segment. My sciatica is just flaring up today. So I'm just a little sore. Ugh. And I'd like to lay down and stretch, and yeah, paid for 2 full hours. Wait, someone's getting paid for these streams? No, I'm just kidding. I really like this little encampment here. Yeah, I'll wait until 2. We'll round it out at 2 p.m. I usually run the stream till about 2:30. But I'm just having trouble sitting at the moment. But I'll roll through the next, 5-10 minutes. It'll be fine. Let's look at other maps on the workshop while we're waiting for the time to roll through, that have been shared just in the last week or so. I really love to sort by most recent. It's one of my favorite things to do on the workshop, because there's so many like diamonds in the rough that go missing because the maps at the top of this weighted voting system, in the browse, whatever, when you're browsing by most popular, they get seen first in this browser. So they're almost always the ones that get voted up more and more and more. And very rarely do, some break through and get seen, but they're usually ones that are shared like on the stream or a winning dam challenge map, or, you know what I mean? So I love to put a spotlight on maps that maybe don't already have a spotlight on them. You know what I mean? Oh, that's not, I wouldn't look at it like cheating. If anything, they're great to look at for inspiration, right? So you can like use it as a basis for your own builds. Or if you need a quick, simple map when your players throw you for a loop and go somewhere you weren't expecting, they end up wanting to go interact with someone you weren't planning on, or whatever, right? The age-old, they want to go see Woblin the Goblin instead of that they met 5 sessions ago, instead of follow your clearly laid railroad. Anyway, You get what I'm saying. It's nice to have a backup map. And I honestly, I mean, there was people years ago that used to think of map making tools like cheating, because it used to be you'd draw them on graphing paper. You'd just do theater of the mind, or you'd hand draw them. So, you know, when you have a printed map that you made in a computer, you're cheating, but it's really not. It's just a progression of the, you know, of the game and the technology more than anything. I think having this amazing resource of 14,000 maps at your fingertips is an indispensable resource for a DM. Whether you need a quick map or some inspiration, or just want to learn from the works that others are doing. This one's dope. Dang, Swedish cook, you seriously cooked with this one. So, Luminous, that's a great question, and I think it deserves an answer from time to time. So Luminous asks, I have a quick over on Twitch. He asks, I have a quick question about the dam challenges. If you know the answer, how are they judged? Are they set parameters that are used to judge the maps, like creativity, intricacy, or is it based on judge preference, or what? So that's a very good question. And for those wondering what the dam challenge is, it's our bi-weekly map making contest. Every 2 weeks, we pick a theme. Our community is given 2 weeks to build a map using that theme. Excuse me, getting hiccups. And then you submit that map before the deadline. And as long as you've submitted the map before the deadline and followed the rules for submission, your map is entered in the Dam Challenge contest for the following stream, which is the next day. So during the stream, we showcase the entries from the Dam Challenge, and the winning map is showcased first. The winner gets a $10 Hero Forge gift card, and their map is promptly featured in our weekly newsletter, the Cartomancer Chronicles. Okay? So, it's kind of a fun way to put yourself out there, flex your map maker muscle against our community. Now that everyone knows what the Dam Challenge is, let's move on to that question. I am pretty much the sole judge. On occasion, the dev team will help me. In the past, we've had guest judges. But I have seen lots of maps, okay? Lots. You know, most, if not all, the maps on the workshop, and some before. And I will tell you this. When I judge maps in the Dam Challenge, it's not necessarily any check boxes you're trying to hit, right? It's not like there's a ranking system, and oh, they did a 10 out of 10 on intricacy. No, that's not how I judge it. More often than not, I am looking at a map that makes me smile, makes me gasp, surprises me in its creativity or style or uniqueness. It's not always like a set thing or a set parameter, I would say. And more often than not, because this is such a laid back challenge, really, with low stakes and, not much of, it's not like there's $1 million on the line or anything crazy, right? It's mostly about challenging yourself than anything, more challenging yourself than it is challenging the community. So I challenge our, community members to put themselves out there, share the map with the community, and see what others think, and share your ideas. And it's a bit nerve-wracking for some people the first time. Now, when I'm judging, I'll look at a map, I look at the content top to bottom, I explore the map the best I can. I usually will do a first-person walkthrough and a top-down, browse through the map. I'm looking for things that stand out to me, that would also stand out to players and be an interesting, thing for your players to interact with. I want the map to be fun to play on. I want it to be navigable. And I'm also just kind of looking to be wowed. And I know that's not really a parameter that is easy to quantify, because I'm an individual with individual tastes. But I will say this, I often, will go out of my way to find the map I feel has brought you know, at least a little uniqueness and cleverness, and you know, you could see the passion shining through the design. Does that make sense? It's a democracy with one vote. Yeah, the thing is that I don't want anyone to get too competitive. That's the point of this challenge. Is it's not meant to be like, oh, I'm the best map maker in the community, guys. No one's better than this cartographer, bros. It's really just about like I said, challenging yourself, pushing yourself to new heights as a creator, a cartographer, but also learning from our community, because there's so many talented map makers that put themselves out there week after week after week, you know, well, every other week, I should say, bi-weekly. And I am so grateful to them because we have so many amazing maps shared on the workshop simply because of the Dam Challenge. Like there's like over 500 maps with a Dam Challenge tag in them on the workshop. And there's plenty others that are part of the Dam Challenge that just weren't properly tagged. So it's nuts. Just updated the app and windowed settings are gone. What happened? Don't. You updated what app? Dungeon Alchemist? Because we didn't have an update recently. I mean, there was one a few weeks ago. But yeah, that is weird, huh? Didn't there used to be an oh, it's just leave full screen, right? Right there. View, you just leave full screen to go into windowed mode or out of it, right? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, Alt-Enter is the hotkey there. I don't really use windowed mode much, so I don't know the hotkey offhand, but almost any part of our app that has a hotkey, it'll highlight it next to it. You could see it. Hiding the UI is always fun. DM run, it's right here under leave full screen, right there. But DA is always running in windowed full screen. And you know that I know this because you can use Windows Shift and an arrow to jump it from screen to screen. And you can also just roll off the screen without being confined to the app like a game would be. Like, you know, when you try to alt tab out of a game and it like freezes the game. DA isn't like that. If it's running in full screen, you could just roll over to another part of your screen at any time with your mouse. The only time it's running in a mode that you can't like roll your mouse out of is when you're in like cinematic or recording mode. So Alt Enter or just under the View tab right here should run for you, my friend. Oh, Night Demon, that's funny. You know, people have tried to bribe me before, but it's more like a joke because like one of the entries was a bar named after me, Max Tavern, and like clearly, obviously trying to butter me up, right? But it's just more fun than anything. I mean, we've had people that have. I think the key to winning the Dungeon Alchemist or the Dam Challenge, the Dungeon Alchemist Dam Challenge. Sorry for my word salad. There is consistency. The more you enter, the better chance you have to win. That's seriously the best strategy for winning, because the people who enter constantly have the most wins because they've been playing it for years. You know. And they've learned a lot over that time too. But if you enter, you know, at least once a month, you're putting yourself out there, a higher chance to win than none, right? It's a less than zero chance just being a participant. Nice, Luminous. I can't wait to see your map. The one thing I will tell you about judging too that I forgot to mention is I do not judge the maps until the night before or the morning of. Reason being is maps could flow in, some of them as soon as the contest rolls over a new 2-week cycle. Some people are already submitting their maps. Some people submit them at like moments before the deadline. And I don't want to build up a preference to a map until all of them are available to judge. So I don't want to look at one and be like, oh, that's the winner. And then another one comes in, I go, oh, crap. You know, because I definitely will build a bias towards a map if I look at it, you know, a week and a half before another map. So I judge them all at the same time, and I will put them in a random order every time. So I essentially will just go through and pick one and judge it, go through, check it out, go to another one, judge it. But I have like a whole list of them that I have to go through. But anyway, you're always nearly last minute. By the way, I saw your comment earlier, Random Ladybird. I honestly had no intention of having so many, like, I didn't, like, not that I was avoiding it, but I didn't realize that I had invited so many redheads on the damn show, like almost sequentially. Because, like, I'd never seen you before, right? We know that, and I'd never met Highland Lass before either. Like, so it was just totally coincidental. But yeah, I'm excited for our upcoming, you know, interviews. On the 25th, actually, we're gonna have Bella from the sorry, the Fantasy Grounds the Fantasy Grounds crew. Give me 1 second. I just got like a frog in my throat when I was trying to say that. Alrighty, sorry, I had a message come through. I just wanted to make sure I responded to it. Yeah, this is, yeah, it does have a Maleficent vibe to it, right? This map is stunning, though. Necromancer's Castle, making my computer cry. We're gonna lower ourselves to medium just so we can get a bit better frame rate. But yeah, it's a stunning looking build here. I always love a build with good lighting. You know what I mean? Let's go check out another workshop build or some more recent maps. This one looks interesting. What is this? The Leaky Dinghy. It's a saloon. Dope. Yeah, the wall shaping's brilliant. It's always inspiring to see stuff like this because then it reminds me, hey, I can make walls like that. So, as I mentioned earlier, our next guest on the 25th will be Bella Muerta. Please add that date to your calendar so you don't miss out. Stream will be at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC. So same as every week. Ooh. I unsubscribe from all assets like once a week. I'll show you how to do that right now, actually. So inside of Steam or on the Steam website, you can unsubscribe from all assets simultaneously. Ooh, the workshop beta is coming up. I might sub to this to check it out. Can we open this in another tab? Ooh, okay. So you can search description, title, and title and description. Created by friends. Interesting. This looks nice. Filter by date. Wow. Most recent. Sorry, this is a new interface. Just looking at it. But if you, I'm looking here. Let's go back to the old interface so I can show you. Yeah, I haven't looked at it yet because it's a beta. I saw you guys talking about it, but I wasn't seeing where it was at. So this is my first time seeing it. Anyway, if you go to, I'll show you in Steam as well. Where is my Steam? Minimized. Okay, so if you open Steam and you go to Dungeon Alchemist, you can go to the workshop tab. We'll be adding a filter, like an option in DA that shows if they were made if they have multi-level or a legacy. There'll be like an icon on them, but I don't know if that'll make the Fun with Objects update or not. I know it's something that's on their to-do list though. Better filtering, you know, sorting by friends, other things too. But anyway, if you click, that's weird. There should show your image here of your profile, right? And it says your workshop files. So this is after I clicked on the workshop tab. So pretty much Dungeon Alchemist, then workshop. Then under your files, you go to subscribed items. And here you can click unsubscribe from all. Or you can unsubscribe from them one at a time by just clicking them like this. Much faster than doing it within DA. You can unsubscribe within DA, but this is my like once a week I'll do this kind of thing. To kind of purge my system of all the assets. This is very true. This is very true, Night Demon. That is a great way to sort it. We will be adding filters and stuff to help with that, but yes. So, but this is an interesting development for sure. I'm hoping we can kind of develop our interface to be with this. It's really quick though. Seems fast. How many per page? 50 per page? It's not bad. The nice tile size is great. You roll over, you get a description. Cool. Anyway, so you could do that in the Steam app or like through their website the same way. If you just are signed in, you can find yourself your tile here and then go to subscribed items. Yeah, more than 50 per page would be nice for sure. I think that is a hard limit for now, at least. Oh. All right, everyone. I'm going to wrap up the stream. Had a lot of fun hanging out with y'all. I can no longer sit. I wanted to look at this map, but it's taken too long. The workshop is slow at the moment. Sometimes it's like a slug. And I've also noticed if it's not the focus of what you're doing at the moment, like if you're not clicking or looking at this app, if it's minimized or it's not the focus, it'll suspend or slow down the downloads to a crawl. I think it's a Steam thing. They're like, want to throttle you because you're not focused on the app at that exact moment or something. I don't get it. Ooh, fancy. I need to fix the issue with drawing caves underground. What's the issue you're having, Galahad? Do you care to elaborate, or I would love to hear more about this so I can deduce what issues you're having. Later, Pike. See you later, my friend. This is great. This is lovely. It just looks like it's made out of a bunch of old ships. You would use the terrain tools, my friend. But yeah, I could see how you would expect the cave tools to be available and have the similar tool options and the speed. So yeah, that makes sense. One thing you can do is through the feedback menu. Obviously, this goes to our Discord where you are encouraged to give feedback there. And on a stream, it's lost after the stream, right? But what I could recommend is actually going to our roadmap and suggestion board. Both a Discord post, will cement it and keep it in our server, and our devs will be more likely to review it. But also, documentation is helpful. But if you go to our suggestion board, which you can find through our website, dungeonalchemist.com, it says roadmap at the top. Oops, here, I thought I was streaming this. So if you just click roadmap. Yeah, thank you, Atlam, for sharing. Here you can see our planned, a roadmap coming up next, things that we've incorporated already. And then under the feedback tab, you can see suggestions made by our community and make your own. So if, this tool, you would like to have the cave drawing tool available when you're in sub levels, then by all means, let us know with a suggestion here. And that way it's documented and it's not going to just disappear into the chat ether later. You know what I mean? That would be probably the best approach. So dungeonalchemist.com, roadmap, and then also you can find our Discord through here if you're not already a member. Down at the bottom it says join our Discord, or you can do that through the feedback tab in Dungeon Alchemist. But either or, in our Discord you can spin up a question thread or a support thread, and myself and other community members can share insight and feedback. And the more people, saying, hey, I would like this as well, more likely it is that it'll be implemented. I'm wondering if it was an oversight or a completely, they decided to do that intentionally. It's a good question. Unfortunately, I don't do any development myself as the community manager, so I would be, essentially passing your feedback on, but I would appreciate it if you shared through those methods. That way, just more documentation. You're part of our Discord already? Awesome. Yeah, we should be in your Discord server list, and then you can go into the support or the question forum and spin up a thread there, and we can get any information and insight and feedback you have on the matter and pass it on to the devs. And they can possibly even comment on that, because they are in our Discord rather regularly. So I'm hoping we could come to some kind of solution for you. For now, though, use the terrain tools to carve underground. It's possible. Here, let me show you a map that I made recently, where I transitioned from above ground to below ground with like a tunnel system. This map's called the Bone Forge. So here I have the, surface level, which this is like a big volcano. And then the only part I had to get a little creative was right here, where I covered it with rocks at the top level, and I put like this arch in. But I just kind of put rooms scaling downward and deleting all the walls and floors. So we have like a cave down here, and I covered the walls in rocks because I wanted it to look more sharp than the dirt we have. For this area, at least. But it goes from the top, transitions down 2 levels into, a volcanic fissure. Easiest to see this when you're in first person. And then I put some rocks up there. It is a cool map. Took some time to get the caves right, because I do think multi-level caves aren't something that's really fundamentally easy at the moment. It's possible, but it takes some doing, right? I think multi-level caves will be kind of worked on with time. When we talk about multi-level as it is in DA right now, it's mainly meant for structures. So you can have a multi-level cave if you have, structures involved, but yeah, I think often people want, more of a rock setting. Would be interesting. Hey, Mondu. How are you, bud? Missed you around these parts. You joined in right as I'm about to leave. I've been trying to actually leave for the last 10 minutes, but keep getting questions, so I'm just keep answering. How have you been? It is a beautiful map, but I made this on Mapmaker Monday. It's available on the workshop for anyone who wants it. It's called the Bone Forge. Your chair should be fixed. Nice. The map we're currently working on Mapmaker Monday is the Last Drop, is what it's called. And that one is... I'm going to load it up so you can take a look, but we'll be working on this Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. UTC. Sorry, brain fart there. But this is essentially a kind of the only store place for hundreds of miles in any direction. And a very crafty kobold, this is the lore I've been developing as we've been working on this map, realized that there's like a lot of trade routes and travelers that come through this area by this watering hole, because it's the only water for hundreds of miles. So he opportunistically started setting up shop here, and he started with like a little ground floor and used reclaimed wood from like old wagons and barrels, because people would leave junk here. Because they'd stop here at camp and then leave like a trash pit on the side or whatever. So he started turning it into, his business. And it's slowly built up over the years. But the bottom floor now is stables. And then you go up, you have a shop, which is full of all sorts of things. He trades goods, barters, and also sells goods. And he has goods delivered on this trade route. So he has all sorts of odds and ends that anyone might need or maybe have traded here. Went through and decorated the heck out of this shop. He's even got souvenirs. And then the third floor is a tavern and inn, which we have a crane here set up to, bring up barrels of, grog or wine or whatever, ale. We've got a few rooms. We've got a communal kind of group room here, right? And here's a room with bunk beds, latrine, a nice suite. And then over here, we've got a little bath house type thing so people could get a bath. And another crane system set up here with buckets to go down to the water hole below, bring the water up. I was considering that or pipes, but I like the bucket. And then they heat it up on a kettle and then pour the hot water in, old school. Then the tavern has, a bunch of seating and a bar. You can get food or drinks. Here we have like an oven and some various foods and spices. Anyway, this map is really coming along. I'm really excited with the progress we've made. I think tomorrow I'm going to do some finishing touches in the tavern and then move up and start making the kobold's bedroom, which is this area up here. And then we'll be doing, like a path through here, a road that goes around the watering hole and off into the distance. And then I was going to make like a little campsite area here with like parking for wagons and like some areas where there's some tents and whatnot set up, fire areas, things like that. This map is not finished yet. When it's finished, it'll be put up on the workshop. So I'm currently working on this map every Monday on stream. So Monday, I'll be working on it until it's finished. And then when it's finished, I upload it to the workshop with all the lore I've developed with our community while we built it. Out here, got a little sign. Water, 1 silver per gallon. This kobold is very opportunistic, and he's trying to, make a quick buck because he knows people need water out here. Anyway, it should be up on the workshop within the next 2 or 3 streams. I'm trying to power through it to get as much of it done as quick as possible. Because I know a lot of people are interested in it, and yeah, there's some outdoors I haven't done much work yet, so there's some bugs and weirdness, some floating cacti, and so the outside I haven't done much with, so I plan to go through and clean it up. But like things like this, yeah, gonna delete or move. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here today. Appreciate you so very, very much. Quick reminder for upcoming streams. Our next week's stream is the Dam Challenge. So if you want to participate in our current Dam Challenge, which is Railway, use Railway as inspiration to make a map of any shape or size. Submit that map to the Dam Challenge channel in our Discord. Be wary, there's some rules pinned at the top of the channel that you must adhere to for your entry for your submission to count, right? So as long as you adhere to the rules and submit before the deadline, which is Friday the 17th before midnight in your time zone. So before it rolls over to Saturday, submit the map. So it could be 11:59 p.m. for all I care. As long as it's submitted before midnight, it's fine. And I say to your time zone because midnight is a different time for each of us. So, work around that. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you also very, very much for hanging out for the interview. I hope you enjoyed our interview with Aiko and learned some cool stuff about Dungeon Alchemist and its development. And we'll see you Monday, which I will have story time because my session, this D&D session, my monthly D&D session is tomorrow. So afterwards, hopefully I will have stories to tell and regale you with. So be here tomorrow or be here Monday, eager for story time, I should say. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. Again, my name is Mac, the community manager for Dungeon Alchemist. I'm going to run a quick Dungeon Alchemist themed ad, and then we're going to wrap up the stream. But before we do, I just want to let everyone know, if you're new here, if you're old here, whether it's your first stream or your 500th, whether you were lurking or actively chatting, appreciate you so very, very much. Thank you for supporting our community initiatives and supporting this stream and Dungeon Alchemist. And to our mods, y'all were absolute rock stars today. Thank you, Atlam. Thank you, Asmodeus, for keeping the peace, making sure don't have any trouble, and also that the questions were filtered to me. Atlam, I appreciate you so much and all you do. Thank you again, everyone. We'll see you next time. I give a damn. Mac out. Bye. Bye. Woblin.
You stand before the long, dark road to the fabled realm of Goyak Ta, and before
What do we see?
I don't know, a goblin.
I kill him.
But before she does, I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to know the goblin's name.
Hi, my name is Woblin.
Where do you live there, Woblin?
I don't think that's relevant.
Well, but I, Gilliam of Firth, demand to seek the goblin's abode.
Clever. Find family. Kill entire bloodline. I like it.
Seriously, we're doing this? Okay, well, won't be needing that anymore, will I?
Ever get caught by your players with your pants down? Dungeon Alchemist lets you create wonderful maps for any encounter in seconds.
Oh, Woblin, that's a very impressive cheese collection you've got there.
Yeah, it is quite impressive, yes. But you know what's more impressive? This map I have
To the fabled realm of Goyak Ta. Please take it and leave. Close the door behind you.
Mr. Woblin, I cannot help but notice that you have a secret tunnel underneath your cabinet. Care to explain?
Download Dungeon Alchemist, the AI-powered map maker, on Steam today.